All right, what's up, guys? I'm back. I'm here to do a video that's going to be a little scarier than usual for a lot of you guys. I know I don't usually enter this kind of realm, and that is the realm of politics. I just want to say off rip, my goal is to not make a political video. My goal is to do the same kind of video that I like doing, which is talking about skateboarding. And this guy, Tim Pool, who has had his interest piqued recently by skateboarding, he is a very politically charged individual. Basically, who he is he runs I guess you could call it a right-wing podcast, and his goal basically is to leverage skateboarding to expand his sphere of influence, and my issue is that I don't think anybody should be entering skateboarding with the express purpose of using it as a political tool, okay, regardless of what your politics are. So that's basically it. Everybody try to keep your pants on in the comments section if you can, or don't. I don't really give a shit. And I'm not here to kiss any one political ass, okay? I'm a free agent in the culture war. I'm a little tired of Bear. I'm a little tired of Cairo. And I'm a little tired of Mikey Alfred. I know everybody loves those guys, but, you know, Tim Pool, I think, really is our salvation in terms of content. He's honestly also, like, a very fascinating dude, how fucking psychotic and horrible he is. I saw this clip, watched it, I was like, finally, something for us to discuss. I mean, everything will get explained, but just a brief summarization. In Tim Pool's local area, there is a DIY skate park. They threw an event at this DIY for their 10th anniversary. Tim Pool announces on Twitter that he will be donating $20,000 or contributing $20,000 in prize money for like a best trick contest or whatever. They say, we do not want your money. We don't want you involved with what's going on here. Tim Pool has a fucking meltdown, of course, because he's rejected. He's like, you know, he's same Jonah Hill type of guy where he doesn't fit in with any subculture, so he tries to buy his way into it. The DIY is on one section of this massive, you know, multi-acre spread of concrete. It's a lot of, it's a very valuable property because of the concrete alone. He buys the whole thing for $1 million, which, you know, on the surface, just, you know, looking at it with no further detail is so funny. Like, that is such a fucking petty thing to do. And it is within exactly like the expectations that you would have for somebody like Tim Pool. Basically the equivalent of like guy you went to high school with that was like a total like unlikable, weird, dorky, angry nerd guy. And then he comes back to the reunion 10 years later, having made like a bunch of money, either, you know, selling weapons or programming a mobile game or something with like an Asian girlfriend that hates him, that's with him because he's really rich. And then he like comes back and stunts on everybody like, yeah, I'm rich now. I have a hot girlfriend. Get fucked, guys. But like, you know, the underlying issue is still there, which is that he's fucking miserable.
I'm going to start by giving you the gist of the story.
For the record, Tim brought it up first.
What do you mean? On the show?
Prior to the show.
Well, yeah.
This, okay, also, just the state of fucking who are all these people? Podcast guys have all these fucking cronies on these days. All these random ass dudes who are just like levels and levels below the respect and the rank in the room than the host is.
Tim brought it up first.
What do you mean?
Do you see, like, when he speaks up, he immediately becomes afraid that he's interrupted Tim Pool, who is the leader of this conversation, for no reason.
On the show?
Prior to the show.
Well, yeah, no, but so here's the gist of the story. There is an event happening in Martinsburg, West Virginia, where we own property and are setting up several businesses. They have even skated this jam, or many people have even skated in front of my building on my street, the street where my building resides. So I offered $20,000 in prizes to this event, and they're basically a bunch of leftists. They're very woke. They insulted me rather intently and then physically threatened me, saying that if I showed up, I'd be physically removed. So I spent $1 million and bought the land out from under him, and that's in my skate park now.
Perfect. Okay, so there he is. He's saying, I spent $1 million and I bought the land out from under them. It's my skate park now. And everybody's like, oh, he's so cool. Like this lady in the bottom right corner, you'll see her later. She is fucking terrifying. She loves Tim Pool. But yeah, I mean, sure, you have you have the money to do this, Tim. You have the money to buy the land out from under these people. But Tim's whole thing that he's going for in this is that I'm just trying to help. I'm just trying to help everybody out. I just want to be helpful. But it's like, these people didn't ask for your help. They didn't need your help. The DIY has existed there for 10 years. They have an agreement with the city where they can build on it and they can skate it. You did not need to insert yourself in any of this. The only person that it benefits is you.
Did you kick them out of your skate park?
No.
See, so what's their problem?
So what's their problem? What do you think their fucking problem is, lady? Their problem is that there's some millionaire fucking grifting conservative media kingpin, and he's trying to take over their local scene that has existed there for a long time. What is their problem? They don't want to be associated with the guy. He's forcing his way in using his money. Also, the ironic thing about, Tim Pool buying the skate park, it's so blaringly obvious that he doesn't understand skateboarding in any way. He doesn't understand what a DIY is. Whether you have permission from a city to use a space or not, you build the skate park anyway. That's part of the spirit of building a DIY. That's part of the spirit of skateboarding, is being anti-establishment, being punk. Tim Pool's idea is like, well, I own the land now, so they all have to kiss my ass. I can kick anyone out. Even if he hasn't kicked anybody out yet, the fact that he bought the land means he has control over it and he can kick people out. He is becoming the authoritative force that skateboarders themselves are the ones who fight against. And he doesn't see an issue with that because he doesn't understand skateboarding.
The real reason why I thought this would be interesting to bring up in the context of, your book on humans.
What's their stupid problem?
Right, this is the point.
Yeah.
Let's look at this lady.
What's their stupid problem?
Right,
That's their stupid problem. All these people, no understanding of the situation whatsoever. They don't understand how any of this shit works, and this is a strategy Tim Pool, part of the reason I believe that he is so invested into skateboarding right now is because he has an audience that is pretty much entirely comprised of people who do not know anything about skateboarding, and so he can kind of, go to war with his local scene or whatever and paint them as, these woke leftists, but nobody can fact check him. None of his viewers can fact check him because skateboarding is like a much harder thing to track, especially, if you don't understand the culture. So Tim Pool basically has free reign to illustrate these situations however he pleases.
Here's the real story. We bought property. Tim Cast, me personally, I bought property in Martinsburg, West Virginia. I love the place. We were looking for land to build a small skate park. We had been looking at a small lot where we could build a plaza. We had been looking at large commercial properties. Hey, where they happen to have a DIY skate park already. I got asked about this skate contest, which is on land not owned by anybody. It was owned by somebody, but they didn't live there. The person who owned it died. The kids inherited it. They didn't know what it was and they didn't care. We actually reached out to the owner, but it was the wrong information. Mm-hmm. So we actually had our agent go to the house. The address was wrong because it had been derelict. And why did we want that land? Well, the skaters that are there only use a small portion of it, but the city has an agreement with them that they're allowed to skate there, which basically clears the way for us to build a skate park because the city already has precedent that skateboarding is allowed here. So I offered up, rather randomly, because they don't own the property, and often they skate in the street, 20 grand. And the entire skateboard industry, like all these pros are hitting me up and they're like, this is the coolest thing ever. $20,000 to a local skate jam is unheard of. And I'm like, no strings, we're just gonna do it.
All right. I offered them 20 grand. And this is another tactic Tim Pool uses where he likes to promote himself as this, selfless fucking advocate, an altruistic person who just wants the best for skateboarding. He just likes throwing money at it because he fucking loves skateboarding so much. And, the reality of it is he has already clearly stated to his audience why he is using the money that people pay him, because he's like a fan. He's an audience funded personality, I think, for the most part. He has his own web subscription website that he runs, but he's explaining to them, we're going to spend our money on all of the skateboarding junk. It's not pointless. We're doing it so that we can get in touch with kids and so that we can promote a worldview that we think is better. This is in relation to him building a private skate park, and he's going to start a YouTube channel there and shit to rival the barracks. That's what he's talking about in this clip right now.
We are building this massive skate park. This is a massive undertaking that will have a tremendous influence on young people and get them more involved in the worldview that we believe is a better and more moral worldview.
And now he turns around in this and acts like he's dumping all of this money into the local scene
No strings, we're going to do it.
with no strings attached. That's obviously not it. Another thing he does, again, how he kind of obfuscates the situation for his fans, is he talks about the pros.
The entire skateboard industry, like all these pros are hitting me up and they're like, this is the coolest thing ever.
The major pros in the industry are all reaching out to me and telling me all of this great stuff that I'm doing and how it's so awesome. Nobody knows who these pros are that he's talking about. They're always nameless. And the reason for that is because, you know, the people, if you look at who actually associates themselves with fucking Tim Pool and these major industry pros like Richie Jackson, Ricky Glazer, Taylor Silverman, and like fucking pro scooter guys doing Instagram reels of fucking whoopee cushion tricks at his skate park. So to get a gauge on how strong and powerful Tim Pool's momentum is in the skateboarding industry right now, I went onto my Gifted Hater Instagram page where I follow hundreds of skateboarders. And I looked at our mutuals tab, and this is the all-star lineup of people who are endorsing Tim Pool. Chris Weimer, Joey Brzezinski, Daniel Yeager, Ricky Glazer, Weck, Local Joe, Jason Park, and Rainbow Swag Lord. And please do not get it twisted. I fuck with the Lord. I'm a big fan. But he's not exactly a key industry figure. Now, what's really fucked up about this, Tim Pool's knowledge of skateboarding is so shallow. He is so inept. He might actually believe that this group of people means that he is going in the right direction. He just speaks in vague terms. He keeps things anonymous so that, you know, he can sound like there's all of this momentum within skateboarding, you know, that there's a giant conspiracy that the whole industry is going to do a fucking 180 and turn into this right-leaning thing. It's not the fucking case, you know. Again, the whole idea, the whole issue that Tim Pool is going to find with trying to turn skateboarding into this battlefield for the culture war.
It's all part of winning the culture war and taking over.
You don't have any numbers. Skateboarders are a group of people with a natural disposition to rebel. They don't like you and they don't agree with your politics, by and large. Sure, some of them will. There are some conservative pro skaters out there. They do exist, but it's like, this isn't a fucking conspiracy theory. Most skaters believe relatively similar things because the thing that brings them together in itself kind of a rebellious thing, you know? Maybe Cody McIntyre like fucks with you or something, but again, he's largely, you know, cooked out of the industry because he's like a fucking dorky ass skater. He doesn't get shit. That's why he skates the way that he does. I'm sure Tim Pool thinks he skates really cool because he also doesn't fucking get any general basic skateboarding fucking principles. This is the guy who made a pro model board for his cat. This is like the type of thing that a guy fucking does where he makes an Instagram page for his dog and then tries to like swipe up on chicks' stories being like, oh, Mr. Bocus thinks that you're cute. It's like, dude, no, disgusting. And for the record, I don't care if you're a skateboarder and you're conservative. It does not matter to me. Like, this is Snake Farm, the company that Cody McIntyre skates for. I hope that they find a way to sell this Nick Holt Dark Side of the Shroom graphic. I hope by some miracle you guys sell out of that thing. To Cody McIntyre as well. I don't have any ill will because of his political beliefs or his personal opinions. I don't care. I like watching him on Instagram because I think he's hilarious. However, it does not change the fact that starting like a conservative or Republican whatever skateboarding brand is like the equivalent of trying to open up like a fucking right-wing yoga studio that has a vegan salad bar and does chakra/crystal readings. You just have the wrong fucking market.
We had already been looking to buy property in the space as it was, and this is like a week later. We were in Martinsburg on this derelict lot covered in dog crap, and I was like, we could buy it, concrete it out, make it a skate hangout plaza. When some dude comes up threatening us, saying he's the sheriff of the park and we're not welcome there, another car pulls up, a guy runs up, starts screaming in our face. Some lady who lives nearby is freaking out, saying she's going to call the cops. I have no idea what's going on.
Somebody put the word out that you were there.
Yeah, and but we're there all the time. This land that we bought is 2 blocks from where Cass Brew Coffee is, where our coffee shop is being built. We're trying to buy land, and now this guy's screaming in our faces and filming us, and this other guy screaming, and we're like, what is wrong with these people? I don't know them. I never said anything to them. All I did was offer to give them 20 grand. Afterwards, when they're freaking out.
Okay, so this is like a very normal, expected Tim Pool-ism. We don't know how anybody actually behaved towards Tim Pool. I mean, he is a massive liar, so, you know, at best, he is exaggerating. At worst, he's making the whole fucking thing up. We don't have any idea, but he's always trying to, you know, depict himself as the victim of this senseless, psychopathic, you know, unfounded, woke leftist outrage all the time, you know. And he says specifically, he says, oh, you know, I don't know these people. I don't know these people. I don't know what their issue is with me. It's like, you are a public figure. In the same way that you talk about people on your show all the time, you have opinions about them and what they are doing. Whether or not they are the same exact person off camera, you could be an entirely different person off camera, Tim Pool. It doesn't make a fucking difference. Your impact as a human being and your personality, what you represent, is something that they vehemently disagree with. So they don't have to take you out to a fucking cocktail date and get to know you to not like you, because your impact on the world, the effect that you have, is negative to them. They don't need to know your middle name. They don't need to know you on a personal level to dislike you. And everyone fucking knows this. It's not like, you know, anybody with an opinion on any actor or celebrity says, oh, you know, well, I don't know them personally, so I don't know if I can really speak to whether or not I like them. It's like, dude, it's such an obviously stupid fucking thing to say. And these are the little ways that Tim Pool will always spin these situations, you know, the deliberate language that he uses that is so fucking dumb. I can't believe it works on anybody, but he still does it anyway. I don't know these people. I don't know why they're mad at me. You're trying to buy your way into their local community for political influence they don't want. They don't want anything to do with you, and you wonder why they have a fucking adverse reaction to you. There's no way he's this stupid. He's, again, just trying to fucking paint a picture that is completely inaccurate for his listeners.
I offered $500,000 for a public park, and they told me to shove off. They're now soliciting public funds in the city to build a park after having rejected me saying I was going to build a park anyway.
Okay, so this part of the story, we don't know if Tim Pool actually offered this money or if this is just something that he's saying after the fact to try to make these people that he's fighting against even more unreasonable. According to the Simple Magic article I read about this subject, I guess he talked to one of the locals and they say Tim never offered this money. And, you know, I don't know to what degree it even matters. It's probably just Tim Pool lying more. And he's saying, oh, well, you know, now they're going to taxpayer funds, and he's going to complain about how, you know, using the taxpayer money to build the skate park is terrible when they could just accept his money, right? But they don't want your money. They don't want you involved. They don't want you to have control over everything that is happening. Also, if you own the land that this skate park is built upon, why do you have to ask anybody's permission to do anything? If you genuinely wanted to spend $500,000 and build a skate park, and this just wasn't some fucking optical trick that you're trying to pull so that you can look like a victim who's been ostracized from the community for no fucking reason, you could just spend that money and build the park. Nobody can fucking stop you.
And I said, I will build a $500,000 public park on this property away from your DIY, and you guys keep the DIY and do your own thing, and I'll do my thing over here. And they said no.
But isn't it your land?
It is, and I could do it if I want. But the point is for them to come out online and for like, I think
he's still acting like he needs these people's fucking permission. He doesn't. He can do whatever he wants. That's the whole fucking point in owning something, as I'm sure he's very well aware, because he loves owning stuff so much. He'll talk about how great it is to fucking own this stuff. He's so pleased with himself. He knows exactly what's going on.
I think it's interesting because the left doesn't care. They do not care. When you look at these threads, that I was offering $520,000, no strings attached, for a public space for the community. That's it. All they care about is that it was me, and I'm on the wrong side of their politics. The city has since, my understanding, allocated $30,000 towards engineering drawings.
So here's the thing also. The good thing about if it is a public space, right? You want to make it a public space on property that you own. So it's not a public space. It's private. Maybe you do actually have the intention, of not exercising any control over the area. I have no idea. I have a hard time believing that for somebody who has such obvious Napoleonic syndrome that you even felt the need to buy this land in the first place when things were already moving just fine without you. The only issue that you had is that you were excluded from participating, so you purchased the entire thing. The good thing about using taxpayer money to do this is that if the taxpayers pay for it, everybody owns it. Then it is everybody's skate park if everybody comes together and funds it.
They want the taxpayers to pay the bill for their skate park that I offered to build.
That's
Exactly what the book is
total
about.
trash.
This
Exactly.
is exactly you're just
So
please. This
give-
should be the next chapter.
giving you the basics of this story.
Yes.
I have this tweet here I can show you real quick. They basically said they didn't want to be associated with my money. They have no reason. They don't take my money, but it was kind of weird that I have major industry pros.
Yeah, he says major industry pros again, as if fucking Milton Martinez, Tyshawn, and Mason Silva are all in his DMs being like, please let me come skate the boonies. I want to kick it with my favorite right-wing podcaster, and you can teach me how to hang 10 hard flip. It's not fucking happening.
Pro skateboarders famously don't make six figures. The majority of pro skateboarders are making 10, 20,000 a year off skateboarding, and they're destitute, and the industry is failing.
Wait, look at this. It says
Okay, so oh my god. Even if these pros were hitting up Tim Pool, it doesn't make a difference. Just because some scrub pro hits you up asking for money, it doesn't have any bearing on the idea that the local scene you're trying to take over doesn't want anything to do with you. It's just completely irrelevant. It's incongruent. And also, majority of the skate industry makes $10,000 to $20,000 per year. The industry is failing. He can say this because, again, his audience doesn't understand anything about skateboarding, and skateboarding is a complicated industry that goes through cycles in its relevance and its success. Anybody can start a brand and turn a person pro. They can be a pro skater by name, but it doesn't mean that they are entitled to wealth or success. You can take Tim Pool, for example. He gave himself, Taylor Silverman, and his fucking cat professional skateboard graphics. That does not mean that Nike has to swing by and pay you $100,000 per year now. So what I'm saying is, in skateboarding, there are a lot of random people in skating who are pro where there's not enough money to support them. Most of the time because they're either not good enough or not interesting enough. There are only so many high-paying gigs in the industry, and whether or not you qualify is predicated largely on the value and attention that you bring to the scene. That's why a brand may want to pay you. So people like Tim Pool and that guy, Danny Mullen, will focus on ex-pro skaters like, Moose and Nick Merlino, who are dinosaurs and either got injured or they weren't able to adapt their skating to the modern era, or they were DMing Curran Capel's little sister. It's a tough industry, and people know that getting into skateboarding, by the way. It's a little better now. Your longevity is better than it was before. Back when these pros were skating for fucking Fallen and Decline and shit, it's not like they expected that they were going to be fucking, skating at Andrew Reynolds' age. This other thing too, where people hitting up Tim Pool for I'll take your $20,000. Who fucking cares? What are you even saying, Tim Pool, in explaining that to people? Are you going to fund the entire skateboarding industry now? Is that what you're going to do? Are you going to just have complete control and pay every single random pro that the industry doesn't care about? Are you going to put them on salary? What will that fucking achieve? And even if you did do that, the only thing that you would be doing, again, is proving that, you are able to just buy your way into something. You can't build a skateboard brand naturally. You don't understand skateboarding. You can't start a board company and build a team and film videos, and do any of that shit that would organically grant respect for you in the industry. You're just coming in angrily and trying to buy everybody off that you fucking possibly can. And those people that you can't buy off, like the people in the local scene that you're at war with, you have an issue with them, calling them stupid because they won't accept your money, because your money is the only thing that you have to offer any of these fucking people.
Is to avoid possible negative attention that would be associated with Tim Pool. They're the ones creating the negative attention.
Right.
Yeah.
This is what they always
This is what they always
Right.
do.
They
But
always do this. They
so-
create this
Wait, Joshua,
language.
get close to the mic.
You gotta get closer.
I like this part where this guy with the beard, the bald guy, he's very fucking strange, but he hasn't said anything yet this entire podcast. He attempts to start talking about how dumb leftists are, and then he's not close enough to the microphone. He's so embarrassed by this mistake, he doesn't even attempt to make his point, and then Tim Pool continues on his verbal avalanche of self-victimization.
They create this
Wait, Joshua,
language.
Get close to the mic.
You gotta get closer.
There you go.
There was one post.
And also, bad host, by the way. You did not encourage him to speak. You just continued saying whatever you wanted to say. If you were a good host, you would have been like, oh, are you okay? What do you need to say? Please contribute to the conversation.
But also, like, they clearly don't pay attention to what it is that you're doing.
This lady is like, oh my God, listen to what she fucking says.
Sure, I guess.
That story. But also, like, they clearly don't pay attention to what it is that you're doing professionally otherwise, because you're a very open-minded person.
But this is
Yes. Tim Pool, a very open-minded person. And I'd like to, based on what? In what way is Tim Pool a progressive thinker? Is it because he invited an 85-year-old human fetus with Benjamin?
the thing at display here is, if you support me at timcast.com, I will buy out more woke industry, and I will just. I'm kidding.
Base.
We will, but there's no animosity.
I hate hearing these fucking weird guys saying based. It just makes it so uncool when a word gets completely bastardized like that.
I'm not mad at you. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why you're mad. I'm trying to give you guys money so you can keep skating, so we can have more skateboarding because we need more people to skate.
I don't know why you're mad. Like, again, you're a public figure. What you say on your program matters. People don't need to know you personally. You don't need to know them personally. It's not how it works. This is what a grift is. He's misunderstanding it intentionally so that he can victimize himself and paint the other people as completely unreasonable.
Let's build stuff. And they were like, no, F you. The issue here that I think is interesting is they don't want skateboarding. They don't want skateboarding to succeed. They want to own. They want to have power. They want to control the area.
So this is so fucking funny. He's everything that he's just accused these people of, the people who have been contributing to the local scene, you know, for decades prior to his random peak of interest. Everything he's accusing them of are things that he is after himself.
They don't want skateboarding to succeed. They want to own. They want to have power. They want to control the area.
How can you possibly sit there and accuse the locals of wanting to have power and control and ownership over the area when you just bought it?
So I spent $1 million and bought the land out from under him, and that's in my skate park now.
You know, this whole section is a massive projection on his part. You know, the people that had already been building this stuff, they didn't have any motive or incentive to do any of this other than just doing it for the skateboarding. They don't have businesses where they need to politically pander to, you know, their audience and illustrate things in, you know, through the fucking prism of a culture war. They're not after doing any of that. They are the ones who are actually building this stuff for the purpose of skateboarding. You're the one with a fucking vested interest, with a motive that is insincere. That's you. That's nobody else except you. And you're pretending, you're flipping it, and you're projecting it, accusing the people that have already been there of doing what you're doing.
When you were talking about the left's motives and things like this, I was like, does this not exemplify the lies and manipulation? And I think that's actually, I suppose, like the great benefit to everything that's coming out from this story. And the story going viral again is Tim Pool offers $520,000, no strings attached, to local community for a public park. And they said, because you are not a communist, get the F out.
This is like Trump with the ice skating rink up in New York, in Central Park.
I mean, I'm not familiar with this ice skating rink story, and I'm definitely not going to look it up. I love the reference. Yeah, this is like Trump with the ice skating rink.
Yes, so you're right. And think about
This guy's head looks like it's being compressed by the headphones. The top of his skull is being squeezed upwards.
and think about, at least when I was growing up, what were skaters? Masculine, troublemaking boys. Many of them white. And so what we have is future oppressors.
Look at how fucking terrifying this guy is. Oh my God. Imagine the energy in there. Absolute freak. Think about what skateboarders were. This guy doesn't know fucking anything about skateboarding. Think about what skateboarders were. Young, athletic, attractive, white, future oppressors. Like, God fucking damn. The way he lights up as he describes young white men. Guy is scary as fuck. You got to zoom out sometimes and ask yourself, like, and whenever you got some fucking people on to promote their stupid ass book, they're always gonna curtail the conversation and attempt to hijack it back into the subject matter of whatever the stupid pointless fucking thing is that they've written about. It's like, yeah, dude, this Tim Pool DIY thing, this all has this, you're right, it all circles back to what? The persecution of white guys in the United States, you know, specifically how white guys like skateboarding and they want to stop white guys from skating. Like, what the fuck does this know about anything related to skateboarding? Like, shut the fuck up. You sound so stupid. Anybody that I'm a white guy who skateboards. I know for a fact it's fine. I don't suffer any consequences as being a white guy on a skateboard. I do not feel oppressed. And this isn't one of those white apologist things where I have to, you know, shit on myself for the approval of, you know, people of color in my audience or something. No, it's just literally not like that. Anybody who, you know, this guy, obviously the last fucking person on earth who should be speaking about anything related to skateboarding, but it just simply is not like that. Anybody who's fucking trying to convince you of that is doing some insane grift for nefarious reasons.
Future oppressors congregating in one place. We can't have future oppressors congregating in one place doing fun things.
When I was growing up, skateboarders were completely mixed, and it was a point of like, it was actually brought up by a lot of pros. They're like, how cool is it that...
Funny, too, that that guy's point is so bad that Tim Pool just, like, immediately steps on it. He just immediately just... He's like, oh, yeah, skateboarding's always been about how great it is that we're all mixed and diverse.
We all skate together, and people are of all different races, but the only thing that matters is the tricks. When you go out and you skate... You get that trick. Nobody cares about your race. Nobody cares about how much money you've got. It's
as long as you can hang 10 hard flip, late flip, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, or Chinese, baby. A hang 10 hard flip shove is a fucking banger trick, no matter where it's coming from. This is Tim, by the way. This is his magnum opus. Yes, he really skates. He's really like that. He can really do this shit.
Just, we're here to have fun, have a good time. There was actually a viral video where an Israeli and Palestinian skateboarder met in America and were skating together and laughing and like skating, and they didn't realize they had just met, and they were like, "Look at this, man! Skating brings people together."
He's also saying there's no political nature to skateboarding. It's only about the tricks. You know, nothing else matters. So is that why you're randomly spending millions of dollars on it? Because it has nothing to do with advancing his own personal agenda? Like, oh yeah, it's all for the love. If Tim Pool really wanted to spend millions of dollars on skateboarding, he would just buy the land, he would just build the skate park, and that would be the fucking end of it. If that was his true intention, but it's not. Obviously, his intention is to stir up drama, be divisive, create tension between the left and the right, because that's how he makes his money. Like, this is not, and if he wouldn't be talking about it on his show if he had pure intentions. Of course, this is just a conduit. It's another fucking subject, another talking point that he can cover on his show. This is how he makes his money. It's never, ever, ever been about for the fucking greater good of skateboarding.
This is another big thing they do.
Post videos all the time.
Well, I mean, I started increasing the videos I post because I'm actually really good at skateboarding. And
so humbled. I'm actually really good at skateboarding. There is an ancient video of him doing a couple manual tricks in a warehouse, and that's about the extent of his diversity as a skater. For the most part, all he can do is skate flat and at 2 miles per hour and just do incredibly stupid fucking tricks. Like he does some like hang your toe off pigeon shove.
I'm actually really good at skateboarding.
And for anybody wondering kind of what's wrong with flat ground tech tricks, I would say they're generally regarded or frowned upon because they're kind of useless. That's how most of popular skate culture sees them anyway. They don't really lead into anything. They don't expand your repertoire. They don't improve your overall ability to skateboard. They're standalone tricks that are really only applicable to flat ground. So doing them is fine. It's okay. But if it's all you know how to do, it kind of just goes to show you that this skater that only knows how to do, flat ground circus tricks has spent their time in kind of pursuit of admiration with short-term dumb flat ground tricks versus, spending their time towards creating a solid foundation for their skateboarding, or just, generally becoming proficient.
The issue is they have no skills. They have nothing to offer but communism and their weird woke cult.
What weird woke cult? You're the fucking one who runs a podcast with a bunch of people that agree with you and has a subscription service for it. What sounds more culty? People just hanging out and skateboarding and building a DIY together, or you coming in with such obvious political motives? Like, more projection. What are you talking about? Weird cult.
This is from their Instagram. This is my building. Like, I own this building. We are building a coffee shop and a club here, and we're gonna sell. It's gonna be a small skate shop.
You think you just own land, man? Like just like own land? It's the Indians' land. Oh, I mean,
there was
it's just, oh my god.
Someone posted the funny meme from Futurama where he's like, "Get off my property," and the hippie goes to it's Professor Farnsworth from Futurama, and he's like, "You can't own property, man," and he goes, "I can, because I'm not a penniless hippie."
Let's go. Let's go.
These people set up in the streets in front of my building to skate. I got no beef. I say nothing.
Okay. First of all, this is the side of your building. As you can see, the front of the building would be over here. Also, we don't know what's happening. We don't know if these people had permits for it because, Tim doesn't own the street. He might own the building that is on that street, but he doesn't own the street. He doesn't have control. He could probably make a fuss if he wanted to, but if they got a permit to do it, if they have the right to do it, there's nothing he can do.
I want to put money in the community. They attack me online. They attack me relentlessly, and they make it a point of rallying to reject this. Well, I tell you what, the local community in reality loves this. They're grateful that we're putting money into skateboarding, and I question and I have to deal with now the.
Another thing, again, just pay attention to the language. The local community loves this. Do they? We don't know that. You just could have produced that out of thin air. We have no fucking idea what the local community thinks about any of this. This is just more kind of like unsubstantiated, vague, appeals.
And it's fairly obvious to everybody. First thing, money talks, BS walks. The people who skate in the area are thankful that we're building, expanding, launching companies, and we pay our skate team salaries. Unheard of in the skate industry.
Here's a clip of professional skateboarder Aaron Harrington. I don't know if you've heard of Polar before, Tim. Kind of popular. He's involved with that.
What the fuck are you talking about? Like, we're skateboarders. Most of us are on salary. We have contracts.
Salaries. Unheard of in the skate industry.
Who's on his skate team? I don't know. He pays them salaries. How much does he pay them? We don't know. Salaries in the skate industry are unheard of. No, they're not.
And these people are losing out because get what, go broke. And this is a good example of why you don't want to be on the side of people who want to be drug-addicted losers who live in the streets. If you want to live a good life, if you want to be a pro skateboarder, if you want to be successful,
you also, for the record, you can't reprimand skateboarding companies for paying their skaters less than what you're able to pay them. Their ability to pay their skaters is a reflection, and it's dependent on the health of the industry. There is a relationship between those two things. You are coming in as somebody who makes their money from an entirely different place and then faulting the companies that actually subsist off of skateboarding for not being able to match, the apparent money that you are able to produce. It's funny, like, Tim is acting as though there's absolutely no money in the skateboarding industry, and any woke bullshit involved in skateboarding is just ruining everything, and none of these people are getting paid. It's like, dude, to be honest, like, the shoe companies like fucking Nike and Vans, the ones who are spearheading, you know, most of the diversity stuff in skating. They're the ones who are spending all of this money on throwing Lizzie Armanto a party and stuff. And it's like, what are you even implying, Tim, that like you can pay more money than Nike? Like, no, Nike is so much fucking bigger than you are. Nike is so much more important to the skate industry than you will ever be. The fact of the matter is, again, Tim, if you started your own board brand and you tried to compete on a level playing field with these people, you would not be able to do it. You wouldn't be able to pay anybody anything. All of the skateboarding stuff that you're doing, it doesn't directly make any money. It's just more content for you to discuss on your show. That's why you're doing all of this.
You want to make money doing what you love? It is not with them because they're burning it down intentionally.
They're burning it down intentionally. What are you taught? You've only been interested in any of this shit for about 2 years. The skateboarding industry has existed for over 50 years. And now he's coming and saying, oh, these people are burning it down. What the fuck are you talking about?
They're not having any fun either.
It's weird. They're not having any fun.
Yeah, they're not chopping up infants and putting them in a blender and drinking them with a protein shake. They're not having any fun.
We've done nothing. We've not put up a fence at the DIY. We've not put up a statue of me or flags or anything. And I got people, you know,
But you are going to put up a statue,
And you just
right?
let them play and hang out on your land.
well, my new rule.
That they were already playing and hanging out on before he fucking bought it, right? You know, you're not a good person for buying something and then allowing people to continue to use it for what it was already used for. You would just be a terrible fucking awful person if you bought a skate park and then put a fence around it and tried to kick people off.
And this is a good example of why you don't want to be on the side of people who want to be drug-addicted losers who live in the streets. If you want to live a good life, if you want to be a pro skateboarder, if you want to be successful, if you want to make money doing what you love, it is not with them because they're burning it down intentionally.
There's no animosity.
You don't want to be on the side of drug-addicted losers who live in the streets. Like, right, anybody who disagrees with fucking Tim Pool's politics is a homeless drug addict. You know who disagrees with Tim Pool's politics? Nike. I think I would probably trust a contract with those guys more than I would with you, Tim. The only way is by, you know, aligning yourself with Tim Pool going forward. And it's like, what is the implication that you're going to support the entire industry as long as they, you know, take your side politically? Like you earlier said, no strings attached. Now it's join my team or you're going to be a homeless loser drug addict. And it's also weird how Tim Pool, like obviously through all of his lies, he tries to remain even keel, impartial, and you know, in the things that he's saying, and then like he'll have this weird, almost scripted tirade at the end where his mask slips and he just goes fucking demon mode for 15 seconds.
I said I have a rule for my skate park in Martinsburg: no pedophiles. Only rule.
So no leftist valid.
Well, I didn't say that,
Oh, okay.
but they're getting real mad.
I don't
Anyway,
like that. It's always
Yeah, and then of course, like all leftists are pedophiles. Meanwhile, let's not forget, you have this guy on the show.
And think about, at least when I was growing up, what were skaters? Masculine, troublemaking boys. Many of them white.